If you need validation, you haven't committed yet because you don't need witnesses to commit to something. I'm Luke, and today I'm going to break down this argument into 5 steps. What it is, how I applied it, what I learned from it, how you can apply it, and what you can learn from it. In order to make this argument seem clear, let's first break down the 2 most important definitions. Witnesses, commitment. Commitment, doing the action consistently. Witnesses, other people watching you do the actions. You don't need other people to tell you to do something in order for you to do it. You are an independent, free-thinking person. Pretty simple argument, but I'm going to take this a step further. The point of the video is to break down the extrinsic and intrinsic motivations behind why you might do something. I'm going to break down how I applied it in 3 different ways in my life. The first one was philosophy. When I was exploring the different things to study in college, I was considering linguistics, sociology, and philosophy. I took a sociology class, got an A in it, but to be honest, it was not that interesting to me. Then I took a linguistics class, and it was hard. I got a B+ in the class, but I wasn't that good at it, and I really didn't enjoy studying it because there were limitations to the possibilities around how to correctly understand the way people speak. So I stumbled across a philosophy class taught by a man named Peter Singer, and I had no idea who he was when he took it, but I heard it was really hard, really interesting, and it was about this guy named Immanuel Kant. I had no idea about the principles of pure reason at the time. But when I first got into the class, we were assigned the first 3 chapters and I was hooked. I read the Principles of Pure Reason, had no idea what was going on. No clue. But I just enjoyed the process of reading something that taught me the way a person thought and why people think a certain way. It was different than psychology. Psychology is the how people think. Philosophy is the why people think, with structured logic and arguments for you to see multiple sides of the same coin. I had a C going into the midterm. I studied incredibly hard. I wrote the best possible papers I could. Our problem sets were all paper-based, and I really struggled, but I loved it. Being able to read the Principles of Pure Reason for the first time was one of the most mentally stimulating moments of my life. I just sat there and read the book over and over and over again. The beautiful thing about philosophy is that most of it is left up to interpretation. I didn't take the class to work with Peter Singer. Peter Singer is one of the greatest philosophers in the modern era, and I had no idea about who he was. All I knew is that this class was going to be interesting because the Principles of Pure Reason was a curious topic for me. I got into that final, and I did not do well. I got an F on the final, but I studied my butt off for it. I had to beg to get a B-, and it was totally fair. If I were externally motivated by the fact that I was not doing well in class, I would have never picked up a philosophy book again, because the extrinsic motivation, or the world telling you that you are good at something, was not the reason why I chose philosophy. Instead, it was the intrinsic motivation, or understanding why people think a certain way, that continued to allow me to understand and cultivate my knowledge set. If I didn't have that intrinsic motivation called curiosity, I would have never started reading philosophy. Then, as I read philosophy, my work and my grades got better. But the only reason why I had a chance at making any sort of philosophical argument was because I took the time to love and become curious about how other people thought. The second thing that I learned as a kid about extrinsic motivation is that it is not all ruling. My best sport, as I mentioned before, was not football. It was baseball. When I was 11 years old, I was playing with 8th graders in 5th grade. I was playing travel baseball in some of the toughest leagues in the state, on some of the best teams in the state, and was the best player on the team. Everybody told me how good I was at baseball. But when I finished the travel season in 5th grade, I knew immediately that this was not for me. The world telling me I was good at hitting a baseball didn't make me like hitting a baseball any further. Instead, it just made me not want to hit a baseball because I didn't want to do what the world told me to do. If I were extrinsically motivated by baseball, it could have been my ticket in anywhere. However, I was not. I was intrinsically motivated by doing other things. My love of basketball is unparalleled. I absolutely love basketball. I still play basketball. I played basketball today at the gym before coming home to record this video and after I finished making a marketing post that you will see tomorrow. If I were externally motivated by basketball, I would have stopped playing in 8th grade. I was playing with kids my age on travel teams. I was the worst player on that team. I had a brick of a jumper, couldn't dribble, and was okay at rebounding, but I really knew how to pass the ball, so that's why I made the teams. Marvin Bagley, who plays in the NBA now, we played in a tournament in California. I had to guard Marvin. So we're down by, 35 at this point. We're getting our stuff waxed. Like, it's brutal. Marvin's younger brother, Marcus, shoots a 3. Binks off the right edge of the rim, off the backboard, and out. I'm in the paint. I said I'm a decent rebounder, right? I was so wrong that day. Marvin Bagley was 14 years old when I was 13. He did on me. I was like, whoa. Like, I could have thrown my hands up and said when the whole crowd was like, oh my God, oh my God, I'll never touch a basketball again. And that would have been a totally fair reaction if I were only extrinsically motivated by the world. But Marvin Bagley did not stop me from trying to play basketball my freshman year. Marvin Bagley did not stop me from playing basketball tonight. And Marvin Bagley is in the NBA for a reason. So getting yammed on by him didn't stop me from playing basketball or loving basketball. Instead, it's just kind of a cool story to tell that I got to tell you today because it's relevant to the video. Now, what I learned from this process is that the best way for you to intrinsically align with doing something over and over again is to make an identity-based association. You are this, so you will do that. And if you feel good about doing that thing because it is you, then you will do it consistently. It will become habit. It will become subconscious. It will become natural for you to integrate this into your life. You are capable of doing this. I am capable of doing this. So we are capable of doing this. Now the question is, how far do you have to look internally to make an identity-based association? Now, how you can apply it actually requires me to bring in 4 new definitions. There's 4. The first one is social validation. Many people determine their entire worth on social validation. For example, models. Models are validated by their looks. Many of them don't develop the idea of loving being on camera. Some of them only do it for the money. However, if they choose not to love being in front of the camera, then people are going to know by the look in their eye and their photos that it is not truly something they love. It's obvious. The social validation alone is going to have limits, and it will affect your actions that ultimately pull you away from the commitment of you doing a thing. You don't need me to be a witness to tell you that you could do something well. The next thing that you will see consistently is authority validation. The most common example of authority validation is when somebody says, is this okay? Is this all right? When they already know the answer to something. It's like asking a question just so they can get an answer they already know is fine. It happens a lot. One discernment here about authority validation is that it is not a true opinion you are seeking to receive about an action that you enjoy doing. Instead, it is simply something you already know is good and you just want somebody else to say it. This happens, for example, a lot in venture capital. You're going to see a lot of people say, oh, I worked at this fund, then I worked at this thing, and then I did this thing, and now I'm doing this because the world told me to do this thing. Somebody with authority told somebody that it was a good idea to do something. They choose to say it is the only reason why I am doing it. The third type is relationship validation. If you are able to say that you love somebody, not because the world told you to love somebody, not because somebody tells you what you want to hear, but because you truly enjoy all of the characteristics of somebody, then more power to you. A lot of people, including somebody I know, got divorced recently because the world told them that they should love this person instead of them actually loving the person. Relationship validation also comes in the form of friendships. I have a friend that only has yes men surrounding them. They only choose people in their life who are going to validate every action for better or for worse. But they still don't know who they are because every idea is always a good idea. The fourth and final one is identity-based validation. People will change who they are to get an answer from the world. They won't know who they are because the world tells them who they are. For example, if somebody says that they are disciplined, but they don't do these things consistently, then they don't identify as that thing. Instead, they only pretend to identify as that thing. Let's say somebody says they're a neat freak, but their entire room is sloppy. They've got dirty dishes in the kitchen, and they've got lint hair all over the floor. They're obviously not a neat freak, but they wanted to say they were a neat freak to try to impress you. Another common one is an alcoholic. Alcoholics saying, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. I just like having a beer with my friends, and then a few beers with my friends, and then a couple shots every night. But you probably should get some help at some point. You just have to identify as not being a drinker. Now, let's get into how this applies with you, because you know the social validation, the authority validation, the relationship validation, and the identity validation. You must identify why you take certain actions. Is it extrinsic, meaning the world tells you to do it, or is it intrinsic? You genuinely enjoy doing it. To commit to something means you will do it consistently, and it becomes natural for you to identify within a certain word. For example, I am a creator, so I will make things. These actions, when identifying with all of your fibers and being, actually allow for you to do things and commit to things. Let's say you're a cigarette smoker. Your backyard looks like a chimney 90% of the time. If you want to change the habit, you don't see people say, I am a cigarette smoker who's not smoking right now and never smoke again. Instead, you say, I am not a cigarette smoker, so I will not smoke cigarettes. The world validates even further when you move intrinsically than when you move extrinsically. You can still do things based on the world telling you to do them, but it's surely not going to be easy to commit to it. If you can answer why you love doing something, then the world will tell you you're great at it even more. The witness is not going to tell you that commitment is necessary. At a certain point, you're going to have to stop pretending being somebody you're not. And even if it takes you a lot more time to get great at something you love, You will figure it out. It's just a matter of if you know where it comes from to do the certain thing. And if you can identify which of those 4 types of validation it is, then you can really get deep about how to make an identity-based association. It's there in front of you. It's there within you. I wish you nothing but the best, and I'll see you on the next one.